Today I'm going to show you how you can buy your first multifamily rental property. And spoiler alert, it's simpler than you think. What's going on, everybody? My name is Rob Bailey, your Chicagoland realtor, helping others achieve financial success through real estate. And today we're going to talk about buying rental property for the first time. The thought of buying my first 2-unit building seemed so scary at first. I mean, it seemed like something that only people with a lot of money can do, and that's not something I had a lot of at the time. And also, what about everything else? What exactly does it take, or what goes into buying a rental property for the first time? How much money am I going to need to save up? What about the tenants? How can I make sure I find good tenants and not end up having one of those horror story tenants? Buying rental property just seemed like the most complicated thing in the world to me. It seemed like something that was just completely over my head. Have you ever thought about buying rental property but just didn't know where to start, or didn't even think about starting in the first place because the process just seemed too complicated? Well, today you're in luck. I'm going to show you step by step how to buy your first multifamily property. The process to buying rental property is actually pretty similar to the process of buying a single family home, especially if you plan on living in the property. Really, there are 7 simple steps to buying your first rental property. Let's get right into them. Your first step is to actually decide what you want in a multifamily property, or decide what your goals are for your rental property. Think about why you actually want to buy this rental property in the first place and what you want this rental property to accomplish. Are you looking for the house hacking strategy where you live in one unit and rent out the other unit to help pay for your mortgage? Or are you looking for strictly an investment property where you're trying to maximize the cash flow? Even though the number of properties for sale are historically low, there are still a lot of rental properties out there for sale. And if you don't know exactly what you're looking for when it comes to property, you're going to have a hard time sorting through all those properties to find the property that fits you. For example, if you're looking to do the house hacking strategy, you need to look for a property that has at least 1 unit vacant. The reason I say that is because if you buy a building that is fully occupied with tenants, then you're going to have to get one of those tenants out to be able to move into it and implement your strategy. And I'm sure all of you have heard stories about how hard it can be to get tenants out if they don't want to move. Now, if you're just looking for an investment property where you don't plan on living there, but you just want to get as much money out of the building as you can, then a fully occupied property might be right up your alley. Now you don't have to waste time and money looking for tenants because you already have some in place. Take some time to really sit down and think about what you want in a rental property. Trust me, it'll not only help speed up the buying process, but it'll save you from a lot of headaches in the future. The second step to buying rental property is to get pre-approved for a loan. Now I know, as soon as I mentioned getting pre-approved or a loan or a mortgage, you start to get a little bit of a pit in your stomach. I know no one wants to go bother speaking with a mortgage lender, going through all your financials, getting all your paperwork together, having them checking your credit. I mean, let's face it, none of that is fun. You want to look at properties. Unfortunately, no matter how uncomfortable the process may be of getting pre-approved, it needs to be done if you're actually serious about buying rental property. Without being pre-approved, you really have no idea what your budget is or how much you can afford to spend on a rental property. Also, you need to know what your estimated mortgage is, and the only person that can really tell you is a mortgage lender. I'm not gonna lie, I had to build up a lot of courage to actually reach out to a lender and get pre-approved for my first rental property. First, I started thinking how I was going to be judged. I mean, did I have what it takes to qualify? After that, I started procrastinating and thinking, well, maybe if I work on this or that a little bit more, then I can qualify for more money down the line. But at the end of the day, I couldn't do anything unless I was pre-approved, because while I was looking at all of these properties online, I had no idea which property I could afford. You know how Chicago is. All you have to do is cross the street and properties are $200,000 more. So I really needed to know what my budget was and to know where I should be looking and where I shouldn't be looking. If you're serious about buying rental property or serious about buying real estate in general, not only do you need to speak with the mortgage lender and get pre-approved, you need to do so as soon as possible. Even if you find out you don't qualify for a loan, they will be able to tell you what you need to do in order to qualify for a loan. It's the only way you can really know how much property you can afford to buy. If you're out there looking at properties and you haven't been pre-approved for a loan, you're really just wasting time, because how do you know if you can even afford to buy that property? Once you make it to step 3, you're getting to the fun part, and that's to start looking at properties. I would recommend that you actually reach out to a realtor, let them know what your price point is and what you're looking for in rental property. The reason I suggest you do so is because working with the realtor is free for buyers. That's right, you don't have to pay them anything, so why not take advantage of their expertise of the market? When working with the realtor, not only should you have them send you properties that you might be interested in, but you should actually look for properties yourself and send them any properties that you're interested in and have them look into it for you. Remember, this is 2023, so you have access to a good majority of the properties that are for sale. I would recommend using websites such as Zillow or Realtor.com and browsing the properties that are out there for sale. And once again, if you see any that you like, send them to your realtor and have them look into it for you. Once you found a property you're interested in, step 4 is to research the rental market for that property. What you want to do is to either A, find out how much the current tenants are paying in rent, or if there are no tenants, research what similar properties in the area are renting out for, so you can know how much you can generate in cash for that property. Once you've estimated the rental income for this property, compare that to the estimated monthly mortgage for this property. And if you're comfortable with those numbers, then proceed on. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, what about the estimated repairs and the estimated utilities that you'll be responsible for, and I'll get to that later. Once you find a property that you like and the numbers look good, step 5 is to make your offer. Speak with your realtor and have them research similar properties in the area to find out what they sold for. Then from there, decide what you want to offer. Now, when making your offer, there are a few things you want to consider. First, how long has this property been on the market? The longer the property's been on the market, the more the seller will be willing to negotiate down the price, because chances are they'll be more motivated to sell the building. Now, if this property has just come on the market, the seller might not be as willing to negotiate, because chances are there are a lot of buyers still coming in looking at it, and they're still hopeful that they're going to get the price they listed it at. Now, if it's been on the market for a few months, that seller might have given up hope and might be more willing to sell it to you at a lower price. Another thing to consider when making your offer is to not ask the seller to make a ton of repairs. Your goal here is to get the seller to accept your offer and to come to an agreement. Anything involving the repairs will actually be taken care of in step 6, which is the inspection. Now that your offer has been accepted, it's time for you to hire a professional inspector that's going to go through every inch of that property and let you know the condition of the building. Once you know the condition of the building, you can better estimate what the monthly repair expenses are going to be. Now, it's also a good time for you to reach out to the seller and ask them for a list of the monthly utilities so you can have a better idea of what your expenses are going to be. If you find something you don't like in the inspection, you can reach back out to the seller and ask them to either A, make those repairs, or B, compensate you for those repairs in the form of a closing credit. This is a great way to get the seller to actually lower the price a little bit, because now you can use that inspection report as leverage. If they don't make these repairs for you, they know that whatever buyer comes along in the future, they're also going to ask for the same thing. So it's better to just deal with you and take care of this problem now. Lastly, during this step, make sure to reach out to the seller and get any information you can on any tenants that are staying there. For instance, how long is their lease? Is it a month or does it expire at a certain period? Also, make sure to get proof that the tenants are actually paying their rent on time. Because if they haven't paid their rent in a few months, they're definitely not going to pay you once you buy the property. If the property is vacant, that means you're going to have to search for tenants yourself once you purchase the property. I found that in order to avoid running into bad or crazy tenants that won't pay you, always make sure to screen and background check any prospective tenant you come across. An easy way to do this is through a website called smartmove.com. This website is run by TransUnion, so all you have to do is simply send any prospective tenant to that website and they will run a background check and a credit check for you. That way you don't have to actually deal with the tenant's background checks yourself. It's all ran through TransUnion, so you don't have to collect any sensitive information. All you have to do is set up a free account with SmartMove and have the tenant apply through the website, and the report will come back to you and you can make your decision from there. Once you're done with the inspection process, you'll be at the last step, which is waiting for the loan to process. During this step, the lender will send out an appraiser to the property to make sure that the property is worth the money that you're paying for it. Once you clear that process, then you have the final walkthrough, which is done either the day before or the day of closing. Then before you know it, you'll be the proud owner of your first rental property. And that's it, guys. That's a simple breakdown on how to buy your first rental property. Please be sure to smash that like and that subscribe button and let me know what real estate topics you want me to cover in the future. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good day.